Hello friends, Tanya here with day 4 of the Spellbinders 2025 Stitchmas, 12 days of Stitchmas. We are going to open door number 4. We get to move to the other side of our advent calendar here. We'll open up that really pretty door and look at that. We've got a postage edge frame with a cute little ornament and a bow, and it looks like it cuts the word cheer into the stitched panel, and you're going to stitch on the ornament and on the insert panel here. Now I suppose you could skip the stitching on this, but I thought it was a nice detail, and the stitching is all part of the thought behind this advent calendar. Everything has some stitching on it. You don't have to do the stitching, but it's there if you want to use it. I'm just going to do a running stitch around this rectangle, the same as I did on yesterday's. So you go down one hole, up the next, all the way around, then turn around and fill in the blanks around the border. Now that I've made it all the way back to the beginning, I'm going to tie a knot with the loose ends that I left, and then we'll just trim off the extra. Once I have that trimmed off, then we can move on to the ornament, which has that medallion style stitching where you come up from the middle and then go out to the radiating different holes. There's a close-up of that rectangle, and here is that finished ornament with that snowflake or star image in the center with the stitching. I'm going to adhere another circle behind this. The ornament has a solid circle and a drop-in detail die so that that circle is the same size as the ornament. Now it's time to assemble our pieces. I did add a couple extra layers of cardstock behind our stitched border piece to make that sit nicely, because the stitching adds extra thickness on the back, and I wanted to even that out when I was adhering it to the postage edge piece. I did cut out the gold part from the gold assortment of treasured cardstock. Also, the string and the ornament topper and the bow were cut from that gold assortment. The ornament was cut from that's the metallic or glossy antique assortment. And I'm just going to assemble this bow here quick. It's really easy, just 2 pieces. Hardest part is getting the glitter cardstock to stick to itself instead of my finger. I always have a little bit of glue on my fingers because I like to get the excess glue picked up off of my objects so that it doesn't create a funny shine. There's a close-up of the assembled dies from today's advent calendar. We're going to play with the Merry 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 Bird Better Press registration and die set. I have this ornament plate, and I'm going to use this piece of copy paper that is cut to 5 by 7 inches, and I'm creating my own Better Press registration template here. So I'm drawing out where I want the ornament plate to sit for each of the times I run it through in this case, Glimmer hot foil. I want these ornaments all over the entire panel. This template is slightly bigger than the hot foiling platform area, but that's okay. We'll make this work. And there I'm just marking that this is a 5 by 7 piece of copy paper that we're using here. Now I'm going to take a piece of Hammermill cardstock and these 3 colors from the Altenew Fresh Dye Ink line. I've got mint chocolate there, wisteria, and pink diamond. They're just some pastel colors in purple, green, and pink. Use whatever dye-based inks or even Distress Oxides that you'd like. I thought this was a great color combo, and I actually took my color inspiration from one of the DIY Color Deck Holiday add-on cards, and I thought I showed that earlier in the thing, but I guess not. Anyway, I'm just applying the ink with my ink blending brushes here, and these brushes are just a color family. So I've got a pink brush, I've got a purples brush, I've got an aqua or teal or mint brush. So I do have a blue brush, and I have one for aquas, mints, teals, because those are just enough different from each other. And I'm just adding a scattering of colors. This does not look fantastic yet, but believe me, it will even out, smooth out, and look really cool when we're done. Plus, these inks will dry back and be not quite as vibrant as you're seeing them right now. I'm trying to be careful not to create any mud by having these colors overlap with each other, because they're not really colors that blend together. Now that we have our piece of cardstock blended, I am taking some satin metallic foil. This comes in a set of 4 different colors of satin metallics. And this one I think is champagne. It's a really pretty satin metallic. So it's not as shiny, but it does still have some shine. Now I'm taking my template and I'm laying the foil over the plate each time after I've relocated it to a new spot. And I'm making sure that I put my other piece back on top. Now, here's what happens. My paper got caught and folded back over the plates when I ran it through the platinum. That's okay. It bent it a little bit. It even crinkled it just a little bit. It didn't cause any real creases. Don't worry, you won't be able to tell when we're done. So I'm going to continue to move my Better Press plate on the template to a new spot each time, line up my piece that I actually want as a finished product with that 5x7 piece of copy paper, and run it through the die cut machine. Now, I was able to get 2 or 3 passes through of foiling done between reheating the platform. It does hold the heat for a little while. And it is nice to not have to set the timer or wait for it to turn green again all the time. One more pass, I think, and then we are done with this. And as you can see, you can turn your template around and position it so that the plate is going to be in a good spot on the platform before you proceed. We'll just do our last foiling here. And I'm just using some scraps of foil to do those partial ornaments, and that works out quite nicely. You don't have to have a full sheet. If you have some scraps you want to use up, that is a perfectly acceptable way to do it. I have another piece of 5x7 cardstock here, the Hammermill cardstock that I'm going to do one right in the middle of, and this is going to be for the inside of the card. So we're going to carry that design to the inside of the card. Now I'm taking the 5x7 Matting Basics Set B, and I'm taking the largest die from that, and I'm going to cut both of these layers out with that die. Again, you can't even tell that this folded back. I added some extra cardstock behind our front panel, and I'm going to add that to my 5x7 white heavyweight cardstock base. Just going to line that up with a nice even border all the way around. I really like how this turned out. Those colors really softened back into a nice blend, almost a bokeh look. I'm adding glue to the panel that's going to go on the inside of the card. And originally I was just going to leave that bauble or ornament on the inside of the card just gold and white. I'm going to adhere our little postage edge framed piece, and I'm going to use, this is the Comfort and Joy sentiments. I realized as I was building my sentiment or my list that this is not available anymore, but there is a mistletoe greetings, I think is what it's called. It's very similar to this. It has 2 plates with curved sentiments that are Christmas related, and a die that cuts out the same curved type banners. So it's a great substitute. I just happen to have lots of this one, and I don't have the mistletoe greetings. I might have to add that to my list of things to pick up soon. So I'm going to center this in the top third of the card, top 2/3 of the card. Yeah. And then I'm going to put this additional sentiment below the postage edge at the postage edge stitched element. And on the inside, I am going to add another sentiment from this same this was a Glimmer set. I think the other one's a Glimmer set too. Anyway, you can use whatever sentiment strips you have that are Christmas themed. These just worked really nicely. And I chose Making Spirits Bright for the inside and Oh What Fun for the front. There are lots of different sentiments you could use. So I'm going to take those same inks and I'm going to use these mini ink blending brushes to add ink in selective areas. Now these mini ink blending brushes are really nice because they you can get into some really tight spots. And since the style of this ornament is kind of artsy, I didn't worry about being too precise. If it got a little bit of ink outside of the area I was aiming for, that was not a big problem. Just making sure I'm picking up some of that ink and filling each of those triangles. We'll move on to the pink. And I chose a smaller ink blending brush, and that was actually a better way to apply them. It seemed to pick up more ink a little more densely. Maybe this ink pad is just a little juicier. That could be it. Who knows? Or it's a slightly darker color. That might be it too. So I'm going to fill in this center area. I could have stopped right there, but I wanted to bring in that purple from the front of the card also. So I'm going to take another mini ink blending brush. I haven't used these before. This is my first try with these. And I'm filling in that stripe there above the ornament triangles. And I'm going to do one below. And after I've done that, I decided to color the whole top and the whole bottom with the purple. I thought that would be a great way to add some extra pop to this ornament on the inside of the card. Just going to finish off that little bit on the bottom, and then we'll add that sentiment over the ornament. This is, of course, I stretch my stuff. That was something that I had done reverse foiling and that didn't work out. So there you go. Next, we're going to pull in the Color Essential Gems in Peach Blush. I love this color for like a champagne gold color. It also works with the rose gold stuff. It's kind of a chameleon that way. So I added it to the center of our ornament and one to the center of the bow. I did think about putting a few more on, but I thought we'd let it go at that. And that finishes our card for day 4 of these 12 days of Stitchmas for 2025. I really had fun playing around with all that ink blending. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And check that description box below for a link to a list of all of the products that I used today. You can still get your hands on the Stitchmas Advent Calendar for this year and for last year. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video today. And until tomorrow, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.